The future is rarely decided in the moment people are watching. It is negotiated quietly in boardrooms, in policy drafts, in trade agreements, in technology standards, in education priorities. And by the time the public sees results, direction has already been set. And this is why the question of who controls Africa's future is not dramatic, it is strategic. Because after empires, after colonization, after independence, control becomes less visible but no less real. And today, Africa stands in a position both familiar and unprecedented. Familiar because external interest in its land, labor, and resources has returned with intensity. Unprecedented because Africa now possesses political voice, demographic momentum, technological access, and historical awareness that earlier generations did not. And these forces collide, creating uncertainty and possibility at the same time. Because the future is not simply something that happens, it is something shaped by decisions, incentives, alliances, and narratives. And Africa's importance is once again undeniable. Critical minerals for digital technology, vast agricultural potential, strategic shipping routes, youthful populations capable of innovation, and global powers know this. Corporations know this. Investors know this. And attention is not accidental. But attention alone does not equal control, because the terms of engagement matter. Who sets prices? Who owns processing facilities? Who holds patents? Who controls logistics? Who defines value? And if raw materials leave while finished products return, then patterns repeat under modern language. And many African nations are aware of this risk, seeking industrialization, regional integration, and value addition. But transformation is complex. It requires infrastructure, governance, trust, education, and time. And time competes with urgency. Because populations grow, expectations rise, climate shifts, urbanization accelerates, and governments must balance long-term strategy with immediate needs. And external actors offer solutions, financing, partnerships, each carrying opportunity and influence. And influence is subtle. It does not always command, it encourages, it incentivizes, it persuades, and sometimes dependence is recreated, not by force but by convenience. Because borrowing is easier than building, importing is faster than producing, alignment is smoother than negotiation. And yet within Africa, debates intensify. Economists, activists, entrepreneurs, and citizens asking harder questions. How do we trade without surrendering leverage? How do we collaborate without dissolving autonomy? How do we modernize without losing identity? And these are not simple dilemmas. They are structural, and history whispers warnings, because past centuries demonstrate how easily imbalance becomes hierarchy. And yet something is different. Now connectivity, information flows faster. Young Africans compare, learn, innovate, challenge narratives, create startups, build cultural influence across music, film, fashion, and digital platforms, shaping global imagination in real time. And cultural power is not trivial. It shifts perception, opens negotiation space, influences diplomacy, because image affects expectation, and expectation affects partnership. And Africa's internal integration efforts also signal change. Continental trade agreements, infrastructure corridors, financial experiments, attempts to transform fragmented markets into collective strength. Because unity alters bargaining power, and bargaining power determines future outcomes. And education again stands central. What is taught about history, capacity, innovation, because confidence drives risk, and risk drives transformation. And if generations grow believing they inherit deficiency, they will seek management. But if they grow recognizing inheritance of resilience and creativity, they will attempt design, and design changes trajectory. And the diaspora plays role too, connecting capital, knowledge, and advocacy, complicating older patterns of isolation. And technology offers leapfrogging possibilities, mobile finance, renewable energy, digital services, bypassing stages once considered mandatory, Yet even technology raises ownership questions. Platforms built elsewhere can capture value created locally. Data becomes resource, and whoever governs data influences tomorrow's economy. So policy becomes battlefield, regulation becomes sovereignty, and leadership matters immensely because transparent governance attracts trust, corruption repels it, and citizens increasingly demand accountability, not as abstract ideal but as practical necessity, because waste delays progress and delay narrows opportunity, and global competition does not pause, and climate change adds urgency, because environmental shifts threaten agriculture, migration patterns, stability, yet also invite innovation in sustainability, where Africa could lead rather than follow. If investment aligns with vision, and vision is the rarest resource, because it requires imagination anchored in memory, understanding what Africa has been to decide what it can become. And perhaps the greatest shift underway is psychological, moving from reacting to external agendas toward articulating internal priorities, from asking what the world wants from Africa toward asking what Africa wants for itself. And that transformation cannot be imported. It must be cultivated, debated, revised, owned, and it is happening unevenly, some regions advancing rapidly, others constrained by conflict or fragility. But diversity does not cancel direction, because momentum builds through examples, success is replicated, failure studied, and gradually a pattern emerges. Africa, not as recipient, but as participant, negotiating rather than accepting, proposing rather than waiting, and the world adapts, sometimes reluctantly, sometimes enthusiastically, because global systems evolve with power realities, and demographic projections alone ensure Africa's voice will grow, markets will expand, influence will deepen, and the central question returns: who controls the future? Outsiders with capital, insiders with legitimacy, youth with innovation, governments with authority, corporations with technology. The answer is complex, shared, contested, fluid, but what history teaches is this: absence of strategy invites domination. Clarity of purpose invites partnership. And Africa's future will likely be shaped by those who can combine memory of interruption with ambition for reconstruction, who understand risk without surrendering confidence, who recognize global interdependence without abandoning self-definition. And perhaps that is where the story is now. Not predetermined, not guaranteed, but open, and openness is powerful because it invites participation, responsibility, imagination. And the same continent that once reorganized global trade, inspired philosophies, resisted conquest, survived fragmentation, stands again at a threshold, not of discovery, but of decision. And the question is no longer who will come to Africa, but who Africa will choose to become. And that choice, made daily, negotiated collectively, may be the most important exercise of control it has ever known.